Hey guys, what's up? We are on our third episode of Pro Player Analysis, the series where I take top level players and basically break down these players, their strengths, facets of their play style, and just whatever I can talk about to explain why these players win, why they're so successful, what makes them top players to begin with. And so today I'm going to be talking about Zero. He doesn't really need much of an introduction, so I'm just going to get right into the video itself. And so first thing I want to talk about when talking about Zero is Zero takes the mentality of don't get hit to the extreme. He's a player that plays super low risk. He won't really throw out unsafe things unless he's very sure about what he's doing. And it reminds me actually of talking to him years back in Brawl. I forget exactly what we were talking about, but I remember saying something along the lines of how he views the game is just play as safe as possible, go for the most efficient spacing and things that get hit as low as possible, or something like that. And so you can see that a lot in Smash 4. And so as a result, I'd say overall, Zero's a player that even though he applies pressure, it's safe pressure. It's almost defensive pressure because a lot of times he kind of waits for punishes. He waits for openings to hit people, and he's very consistent with landing these openings to hit people, landing these punishes because his spacing is really good. I've never seen a player with such good spacing for avoiding attacks a lot of times. He's a player that you'll hit him, or you think you hit him, and then he'll be a pixel out of range of the attack, or maybe you're a second off in terms of timing, but whatever it is, it always feels like you're about to hit him, you should hit him, and then you don't, and it's crazy. And even when he's being juggled, he's very hard to juggle as a result. When he's juggling someone else, he's really good at weaving in and out of the opponent's hitboxes while keeping them in that juggled and bad position. And that the reason for this, I think, that's so effective besides his actual attack spacing itself, is his movement is very tricky and fluid and precise. He's a player that not only is he always running back and forth, jumping around, and basically being very hard to get a lock on, but it always feels like when you're fighting him that he'll be somewhere, standing, whatever, running around, and then suddenly he's in the air, off stage with a bouncing fish coming at you from full up height, and you're just like, what? Huh? How'd he get there? And it is really intense to deal with because you never feel quite safe against Zero, just because his movement's so good. And then I think this plus his just really good spacing and the fact that he randomly would go aggro, you'll see Zero sometimes just go super aggro out of nowhere. Lots of pressure, lots of rush down, lots of good risky options, and this is what lets Zero land bouncing fishes and up smashes and just very strong kill options and combo steps a lot easier than the average player would. It seems like sometimes it lands these things, don't know how he lands these things so well, and it's just because of these traits combined, his movement plus his low risk style, which suddenly becomes very offensive. And next thing to talk about is his combos of follow-ups are insane. So I'll start with punishes before first, and I talked about how he's very consistent at landing them, and he doesn't have the most optimal punishes, to be honest. Sometimes if he can get a lot more than he does, but what he is optimal with is these combos, these strings. You can tell he labs out his characters and the DI and the percentages, that or he just knows it by heart somehow, and regardless, he lands hits and you take max damage from his stuff. You're not getting out safely against something. If he hits even a single forward air, forward tilt on you, you can expect to be in a bad position just because he's gonna take this forward air, this forward tilt, and you just gotta carry up the momentum as far as possible. And so one thing I noticed about him is in order to get a lot of these optimal punishes, not only does he know percentages and DI and whatnot, he also is really good at extending strings of forward airs and back airs a lot longer than you'd expect, because he'll get in your face with the forward air before doing it. So when he forwards you, instead of being max distance like most people would be, he'll be right in your face, which lets him be close up for the next forward air or back air, whatever he's doing. And then you're kind of do the same thing again and again and just keep being in your face for the next hit of the combo or the string, just so you can keep getting that damage out, be as close to you as possible when you're in a bad position already. And that's why it seems like it hits you and hits you much harder than most people do. And another aspect of this is that his actual reaction time is absurd. I think him and Ally, who I talked about before, have the highest reaction times, because I've just never seen a player that you can do something simple roll behind him as he's doing an attack and he will react to that with a back air or a grab really consistently. You would DI and he'll react to DI very consistently, and overall his reaction time is just super hard to deal with. And so next up is his game knowledge is really high. Like, this probably goes without saying, but I have to say it anyway. He can play most of the common tournament threat characters really well. In fact, I'd say he's better than most dedicated mains with pretty much all of the tournament viable casts and even a lot of characters they won't see in tournament. And so as a result, he also very rarely runs into situations where he doesn't know a character, he doesn't know the matchup, he doesn't know their options, their follow-ups, their kill moves, etc. And so being this well informed of pretty much the entire cast makes it very hard to land gimmicks on him, makes it very hard to catch him off guard, and it just, that game knowledge helps him a lot in establishing his dominance over the game. In fact, I think if like every top player like knew matchups as well as he did, oh my god, this game would, like, the meta for this game would be so insane. And I guess that's all I would say about like his style, his strengths, his play. It's actually a lot, I won't say simpler, but it's more basic than you I feel like would expect. But just because he does all these things super well, he has just such good situational knowledge, spacing, etc. All the things I just talked about. Because he's so efficient at all this stuff, this simple style works so well for him. And so, I guess the last thing I want to talk about is, this isn't so much of an in-game style thing, but as a mindset thing, is Zero is a player with very high motivation to play and win. Because Smash 4, as far as I know, is like pretty much his job. Like, of course, like, it's a very good source of income for him and other things. And generally speaking, I don't feel like any other person in the world playing Smash 4 has as much motivation to be good as him right now, because he has just so much going for him. And as a result, though, despite the fact that this like gives him motivation to keep ahead with the meta, keep ahead of the curve, and just be a top player, it also in a way has a negative effect for two reasons. One is, of course, people tend to root against him just because they want to see someone else win, someone beat him finally. And as a result of this, and this is part two, is there's always pressure on him. You know, it's not like he can lose a set without people going crazy. He can't have a close set without people going crazy. There's all this pressure on him, not only from other people, but himself, because he has so much going on with this game, I'd say. And so his mentality is both helpful and hurtful to him, and just something interesting I wanted to point out about Zero. So that's it, guys. That is my analysis on Zero. I actually was playing him very recently, a lot of friendlies, and I learned a lot doing that, come out watching his tournament videos from Big House, and this is just kind of what I feel like makes Zero Zero. If you guys like this video, comment, subscribe, leave me more suggestions for top players you want to see analyzed for the next video, and of course I do stream, so if you guys want to check that out sometime, feel free to click the link below and follow. And with that said, I will see you guys for my next video.